And sorry, I was muted. Good morning, Europe. It is Wednesday, the 25th of June, and the markets have just opened. So there we go. Excellent, all good. So let's get an overview. That was a very quick fall in the DAX from 750, which is above the overnight range, down to the low of the overnight range. We have a we have a gap up situation. I could possibly see myself being a buyer below the overnight low, so please stand by for that. I'm buying the DAX here at 23,680. I'm buying below the overnight range low. I never a big fan of buying something that is moving very quickly, and there's no doubt that the DAX did exactly that. So when I see something like that, I'm always keen to attempt to minimize my risk as quickly as I humanly can. You'll notice that my GBP CHF was stopped out. And let me just look at the FTSE. FTSE is holding above the overnight range. And it too has a gap up. It feels as if I've been muted. I hope I haven't. Okay, listen, I was explaining this. I'm not sure whether I was muted or not. But I stopped out for -10. Not muted on YouTube. Good. Excellent. All right, great. It's just I have one of these headsets and I thought it was blinking. But anyway, so you followed exactly what was going on, but did you notice how the second bar number 2, how it accelerated? I'll show you here. So this, we saw a bounce here just before bar number 2 kicked in, and then bang, very quickly down and test new lows. I thought it was worth a chance. Could I have moved stop loss to break even? My entry was at 80. The best I was 18 points in profit, but that was momentarily, and I moved my stop loss down. To me, it was one of those trades. Please let it go as soon as possible. So what this price action then suggests to me is that we're going to see a gap fill. Now let's look at the bigger picture. Let's just look at the daily chart. You have a very strong close above the lowest bar. You're building on that momentum yesterday, but now it seems as if this market wants to take a retracement. Probably still going to be of the other opinion. I want to be a buyer of retracements. So what you're seeing on this chart is an attempt to just show yesterday's price action. on the 15-minute bar, where the DAX has ended right now at 658, doesn't really make for much of a meaningful low. And so there are new lows. So this is just a basic 61% retracement. Not something I use, but I decided just to put it up there anyway. Sort of coincides with the gap fill. So maybe that could be a place for an attempt for an entry. Please stand by. stand by. Buying the DAX here. Bought the DAX at 23,650. So I'm already 12 points in profit. I'm going to move stop loss up. Let's see if I can move stop loss up to risking just, let's try with 16 points. Stop loss to 23,634. Notice how the FTSE is dancing to a completely different tune. Okay, so I was just about to move stop loss up a little bit further. So the DAX filled the gap and hit a ratio of the overnight range. I'm currently risking 16 points, moved down from 80 point stop loss, and I'm 12 points in profit. Moving stop loss to break even. I'm 16, 18 points in profit. I actually don't know. Oh, okay, no, sorry, I made a mistake. I thought, why am I only trading? I thought it said £4 a point, but it doesn't. So stop loss is now break even below or at the lower three. We're about 20 odd points in profit. Just checking what the first lost me. Yeah, it lost me 10 points. And my stop loss is at break even. So no risk trade so far. Now I can thinking about adding to the position. Like to see some more bullish price action. You know, for example, bar 4 giving me a close on the highs. My open profit is very limited. So far the price action suggests another push. My stop loss is at 50. The market just went 51.2, so it's about as close as it can get. I love the vibrant colors of this software. Now I'd love it if the DAX rallied. Price action is pushing down towards the lower 3 again. My stop loss is at risk of getting triggered. Yeah. So stopped out for 0. Shame. What could the lesson be here? Well, maybe the lesson would be that I waited to move stop loss to break even until bar number 4 was completed. If bar manages to close above the low of bar 3, I think it will give the bulls more courage to buy in. We just retested the 50 area. And while we did hold the low at bar 3, we're still looking at a pretty weak open. There we go. New lows. Marginal, but new lows. The gap has, I would say, officially been filled. I know it's Wednesday, and I normally don't trade with you on Wednesdays, but I decided that since we're not going to be with each other for a while, that I would come in here and okay, so 4 actually managed to poke below 3, and we're now setting up the aggressive school run. The gap has been filled. I'll just show you the DAX. Sorry, that's gold. I've been doing some research on gold. So here's a chart of the DAX index on a 10-minute chart. So looking at this, we have this quite significant area where the market hasn't traded from 23,250 all the way up to 23,600. While I wouldn't like to hesitate a guess, big gaps like this is likely to get some probing. A gap has a 48% chance of being filled on the day and has a 78% chance of getting filled over the next 3 trading days. And then you got that 20% where the market just keeps going. If we look at this gap here gets filled, this gap here gets filled over here, this gap gets filled here, this gap here, well, has kind of gotten filled now. So if I show you the perspective, we filled that gap here. That gap got filled here by the high yesterday. This gap here hasn't been filled. The high was 885 and the gap. So there's a smaller gap right here that hasn't been filled. So if we try and pick some other gaps, such as could be this one here. As I said, there's always that 1 in 5 chance that it won't get filled over 3 days. So the argument that I use for being a buyer or attempting to be a buyer was because of I want to say what I think the trend is. And my money management made it so that my loss on the first trade was minimal and the loss on the second trade was non-existent. No winners yet. So 5 is still holding within the inside range of bar 4. And there's a bracket on either side with an aggressive school run entry. Stand by for a short position in the DAX above 676. It actually just hit that. See if I can get a second chance. Just want to show you the footsie. School run will trigger, or shall we say the school run bar, the second 15-minute bar, will complete in 2 minutes. I just want to show you something. There you go. I got 960 messages to reply to now. Lovely. Stand by, ladies and gentlemen, for a short position in the DAX. Shorting the DAX here. I've shorted the DAX at 76. Not a great fill, I must say. Gonna move stop loss to break even. I'm just going to do something I rarely do. I'm just going to move stop loss a little bit further just to capture some of the points lost on the you know how I lost 10 points on the first entry. Got the stop loss as close as I could. Just going to trail this stop loss just a little bit. Just want to make sure I capture a little bit of that back. Okay, so stop loss is now capturing about 8 points. Now, what did I do here? Well, you'll notice how the DAX is trading below the overnight range. And so the hypothesis that I have developed is that if school run triggers above a bar that forms below the overnight range, instead of buying it here, I want to be a seller. Now, I really must get into the habit of using orders because my fill wasn't great, 76.5, and I really wanted to get a fill at 78, 79. The high was 80. What do I think I could hope for here? Well, I think I could hope for a test around the 38 area. Do I think that we are going to have a gap fill move? No, me. I don't think so. It could be that we will have a measured move. Something like this that would take us down to 23,500. Do I think it's likely? No, not really. I think the bullish forces are stronger. If I cleaned up the chart and put it, say, on a 30-minute chart, this gives a really good picture. So what could I hope for? Well, maybe a measured move from 813 down to 575. What's that? About 225 points. 225 points from this high here would take us down to approximately 23,500. Doable? Yeah, but I think I'm about to. No, my stop loss wasn't hit. If I get hit on this stop loss, I'm gonna stop for the morning. And it will be a somewhat of a losing morning for me, but a very marginal losing morning. But I'm hoping for a test of 4. Stop loss is tight, sat currently above the high of 8, capturing 8 points in profit. Am I happy with that? No, not really. Do I want to play for 8 points profit? Nah. It's just the principle of it. All right, well, look, I lost 10 points. And then I had a 0 trade. So this is my third DAX trade in about 36 minutes. The entries have been good so far. They've been very confident and determined, but I haven't been able to make anything from them yet. Both instances I've had a maximum of about 20 odd points in profit. I have another 20 points in profit here in open profit, but so far I haven't really made any of it because obviously I'm hoping for a little bit more than 10 points in profit. So just so you can see here, I lost £60 on the first position. 10 points. It's looking better now. Flipping over to the 15-minute chart and looking at bar number 2, would I want to be a seller below bar 2 low, which is 638? Yeah, because that's a school run. So we're coming down to the low end of the range. I'm going to take half profit in the DAX here. I'm closing for 29 points on half. That would have secured to make back what I lost. Just show you here. So just closing half. And maybe I'll get a runner on the rest. I don't think so. So I think this market is still bullish. Oh, great. New Trump post received. What do we got here? The day begins in the beautiful Netherlands. The king and queen are beautiful and spectacular people, just like me. Our breakfast meeting was great. Now it's off to a very important NATO meeting where the US will be very well represented, except there aren't really anybody from the US there. But that's all right, because I always portray the truth in my own eyes. DT signing out. So far, so good. Actually, in my attempt to be funny, I didn't add to my short position at 38. You know what, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take my profit here. Done. Closed. And I'm calling it a morning. Let me just post so that you have that for reference. My trades. So let me just go through that with you. We had a fair and square loss on trade 1, lost 10 points. We moved the stop loss up from a loss of 80. Then we had a second one. You see how I got a 0.6 point slippage, I think it is, 0.4. No, must be, no, 0.8. Naughty, naughty. And then I just closed 2 profitable trades, thus making it a profitable morning. I hope this is a good example of making the best of a tricky morning. I know I've only been here 42 minutes. Remember, it's technically my day off. But God, I love trading so much. I really do. It is just a phenomenal job. Amazing. Okay, that's me done. Status done for the EU session. I can't promise I will trade the US session. Wednesdays is there we go. Status done for the EU session. I can't promise I'll trade the US session. Wednesday is normally my day off from trading live. We will see. Maybe the NATO meeting will give me ammunition, no pun intended, to trade. Well, I always enjoy these sessions with you. You look after yourself, and I will see you either later today or at least tomorrow. And then remember, I have 3 days left of this channel, and then there will be either nothing or at least a 2-month break. All the very best. Bye-bye.